Viewer discretion is advised. So, here we go. You are listening to Wine and Crime, the podcast where two friends chug wine, chat true crime, and unleash their worst Minnesotan accents.
Yeah, especially today.
Oh, big time. And
big regional day today for us gals.
Oh, really exciting stuff. Mm-hmm. I am your co-host, Amanda.
And I'm the other one, Lucy.
That's Lucy over there. God, she's cute. Just to look at her. Would you look at her?
Still have some mascara on from last night.
Oh, I took a shower this morning.
Whoa, this morning?
Well, okay. Morning just means before noon. I got in that shower at 11.
The a.m.
I got out of bed at 10:45.
That's initiative to take a shower in the a.m. hours.
Well, I am trying to force myself back into a normal sleep schedule because I think the combination of jet lag and COVID really messed with my sleep for the week after we got back.
You're fucked up.
And so I've been wide awake until 2:30 in the morning, but then I cannot get out of bed before like 11 or 12 because I'm just so fucked and exhausted. And I know my body's still recovering from COVID too. But today I couldn't get to sleep until 2:30, but I set my alarm for 9:50. It was like, I'm going to dial it back a little each day till I can get back to naturally waking up between 8 and 9, which I had been doing. Even if I don't get out of bed, I'm at least awake and alert and like dicking through emails on my phone, morning routine, get out of bed when I have to blast a piss. That's like my first
blast a piss.
If I have to blast a piss. And what I need to start doing again, because it was helping me get up in the morning, is I kept my big giant water bottle. No, I can't do that. I'd go right back to bed. My giant water bottle right to my bed, and I would chug a bunch of water while lying in bed with like my straw sucking on like a giant baby bottle.
Like Lala.
Yep. So that I'd have to pee at like 8 a.m.
Okay.
And it's like, bitch, you have no choice. You have to fucking get out of bed.
You know what you need? An infant.
Yeah.
Because those first few days after we got back from Italy, I was like, wow, I've never had jet lag that I'm not able to compensate for.
Mm-hmm.
Like this, I was just thrown to the fucking time zone wolves.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
I could never have handled jet lag with a kid, let alone jet lag and COVID with a kid. I just would have succumbed and been like, sorry, you're an orphan.
I would have, I would have moved out of my house.
It was hard enough being a cat parent during COVID, and I have a litter robot that cleans the litter box for me. I have an automatic feeder and a big automatic stainless steel water fountain. Those cats don't even need me. And I was still like, I'm a
You're
bad
terrible
mother.
mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The mom guilt. Can you believe?
The mom guilt. Telling you.
Anyway, none of this is relevant to what we're talking about today, except for the fact that we are familiar with, and some of us may live just across the river from our staff picker John's selection of St. Paul crimes.
And this is just because John
John lives
shacked up
in
with
St.
the
Paul.
St. Paulian.
Yep, and they're living together in sin, in the sin city of St. Paul.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be clear and transparent. I shit a lot on St. Paul. I do. I'm a Minneapolis girl through and through.
We both have some feelings about St. Paul.
I every time I think I wouldn't want to live here, I do learn more about the city of St. Paul in terms of governance. The mayor and their city council, far superior to St. Paul, in my opinion.
To Minneapolis?
Far superior to Minneapolis, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Minneapolis' city council is a bit of a hot mess, and our mayor is a turd. So, a worm with a mustache. So, yeah, they have a much better local, like, city government.
I think he looks like Justin Trudeau.
That's the Minneapolis mayor, not the St. Paul mayor.
That's what I meant.
Yes.
Fry.
Mayor Fry looks a little bit like Trudeau. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. St. Paul Police Department, still pieces of shit. Newsflash, every police department.
It's a PD.
Yeah. St. Paul Police does have a racist history of excessive force and killings of people of color. So does Minneapolis. So does basically every city, certainly major city in the country.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I hate the most, two things that I hate the most about St. Paul. The layout, it's an old city in American Midwest standards. Not real sensical. Parts of it are not at all a grid, very windy and confusing.
Mm-hmm.
One ways that do not seem to make any sense to an outsider. It's not it. Also oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I just find it creepy.
It's a very creepy city. It's like Victorian.
It has to do with, like you were saying, the windy streets. It's not a grid. It isn't like intuitive.
No, it's not. Downtown in St. Paul is a mess. It's not intuitive at all. The neighborhoods are just like the neighborhoods in Minneapolis, very on a grid, very easy to navigate. Mac Groveland is like the cutest neighborhood ever. It's right by the river. St. Paul is beautiful. Also, weirdly enough, and that's why we drink in maybe they're not at the time we're recording this anyway. Most recent episode, they were talking about Summit Avenue in St. Paul, which is still home to the largest, like in one place collection of Victorian era original homes in the country.
Wow.
It's several miles long, and the homes on Summit Avenue are really something to behold.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful part of the city. They have
the architecture is fantastic because it's old and because it was built up when there was a lot of money around.
They also, as a city, have done a much better job at preserving that original architecture, unlike Minneapolis, which in the 80s, especially 70s and 80s, went through a massive leveling and rebuilding of specifically parts of like one of the city's, the South Side's main throughway, which is Lake Street, which has like tons of bars and shops as well as apartments, all kinds of things along the street. And it used to be, similarly to St. Paul, mostly these beautiful brownstones and like row houses. And they leveled them in the 70s and 80s in huge sections of Lake Street and replaced them with that like popular at the time kind of brutalist, just ugly,
hideous,
brown and yellow and just
cement.
Cement, really, really unappealing buildings that wiped out so much of the old school Minneapolis charm. And St. Paul did a much better job at not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So it is the more beautiful, in my opinion, of the two cities.
Yes, but I think because of the architecture, because of the not intuitive layout, I feel like St. Paul just is inherently creepy because there's like, I feel like it has to do with like spatially, it just throws me off.
Yeah.
It throws me all the way the fuck
there.
off. I feel so uncomfortable. Como Zoo and Como Park freak me out.
The shit out of you.
They just freak me out. The Science Center freaks me out.
Oh, I love that. The Children's Museum is fucking amazing. When June is a little bit older, we have to take her there. She'll love it.
It's not what's inside the museum. It's that's right next to the river, right?
It's just in downtown. It's really close to the Fitzgerald Theater, actually.
There's just something's off.
Something's off. I get that.
It might give me like anxiety flashbacks from like field trips when we were little. Mm-hmm. Because
field trips and live shows are like the only times we go there, and they are both chaotic events in different ways. So that tracks. I also do not like. This is my main reason for not liking St. Paul. Is their late night food scene is not good.
Yeah,
like
it's not.
I'm a girl who will be going off all day and not think about dinner until like 9 p.m.
Didn't we have to get DoorDash from Minneapolis the last time?
I think
we were staying at the St. Paul Hotel.
Yeah, if you're dashing or you're Uber eating, it's going to be expensive and it's going to take a while to get to you unless you want like Pizza Luce, which don't even get me started on those folks. I used to
I
love
won't.
Pizza Luce, but
I
their
didn't know we
quality
weren't allowed
has
to like 'em anymore.
significantly fallen.
Oh, okay.
And they deliver till 2:33 in the morning, so they were like the go-to.
Yeah.
But for Minneapolis people who agree that Luce has gotten not as great and you want a late night food option, Caffrey's Deli and Subs. Holy shit. So fucking good. But this is St. Paul crimes, not Minneapolis crimes.
Yeah. Hey
now. So, yeah, that was a long top of the episode weird conversation about St. Paul, but it at least was topical to the topic at hand.
Sets the stage.
For the first time ever, we talked about something fucking applicable to what we're actually discussing today. So,
Fraught with our personal opinions.
yeah. As we are wont to do. So, for the pairing this week, I had to pick a St. Paul staple. And the St. Paul staple in the world of alcohol is a Hamm's beer.
Hell yeah.
And I went on a wild goose chase today to get one because I did not want to buy a whole case because I'm not much of a beer drinker and my husband's sober, so no one would drink it.
Tell the people.
So I put a post in my neighborhood buy nothing group that I think got taken down because you're not supposed to do alcohol or nicotine products. But
can I
whatever.
have a free beer, please?
I texted all of my neighbors. I texted our group chat with John because John lives in St. Paul, and I was like, John's got to have a Hamm's. No, you motherfucker didn't have a fucking Hamm's, and you're so in love with St. Paul, but you didn't even have a fucking Hamm's in your fridge.
It's your freaking episode, John.
I put a post on my personal Facebook page. I put out 3 separate Minneapolis group calls to action in my group chat.
Oh my God.
And Lucy came through by saying, hey, I bet Madeline, my sister, has one. She loves Hamm's. I called her up. She's
From
like, I have
250 miles away.
I called her up. She's like, I have exactly 6 cans unopened of Hamm's in my refrigerator right now. And congratulations to them. They just bought a new house. So I drove to their new house, got a Hamm's and some kale and Swiss chard from their garden that I have prepared a salad for Blanche. She is currently not eating because he's exploring my office right now. And I have a Hamm's. I have procured a Hamm's.
Can I tell you why I knew she'd have a Hamm's?
Well, I have to imagine it's connected to how many Hamm's glasses your family has.
Not even.
Oh, I just assumed it was like a parent, child situation.
So I was going to say, I am 95% sure there are several old cans of Hamm's in my parents' garage.
Yeah, I thought that too.
And then I was like, she's not going to drive all the way out to Chanhassen.
That would be like an hour and a half to hour 45-minute round trip for one can of old Hamm's.
To avoid buying 6.
Yeah, which I would have more than spent in gas to go get it.
So then I was like, well, Madeline and Ben moved into their new house 2 days ago, which means they have fresh groceries.
Mm-hmm.
And what is a new house kind of trash beer in St. Louis Park but Hamm's?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I bet they have fresh Hamm's.
They don't live in St. Louis Park, but I won't correct you so that where they do live is not on.
Oh.
So I procured a Hamm's, and this is a fun little beer. Hamm's is the only pairing that makes any sense for today's episode. Hamm's is a St. Paul classic beer. Here is the history of Hamm's from their website, hamms.com. That's Hamms. Theodore Hamm first arrived in St. Paul, Minnesota from his native Germany in 1856 with a clear, simple dream: to create a quality American brew to be enjoyed by all.
You know what should have been his dream? To make St. Paul pork products because his last name is Hamm.
Oh my God. I love St. Paul pork products so much. I work here now.
In a blood-spattered apron.
That is one of the most iconic scenes in movie history.
Mm-hmm.
So he did just that, and beer drinkers have been enjoying Hamm's ever since. It's surprisingly darn good. What Mr. Hamm couldn't have known back then was that Hamm's, known far and wide as the beer, ... refreshing, and that is the slogan that is on They're cans, I believe.
It's the land from the land of sky
sorry,
blue waters.
It's at the top. That beer, refreshing. Would eventually become one of the most iconic beers in American history, brewed in the land of sky blue water, which is what's at the bottom.
From the land of sky blue waters. Hams.
Hams. Over a century later, Hamm's is one of America's most beloved beers and is served all over the country. Hamm's became even more of a household name thanks to its quirky advertising campaigns from the 1950s through the early 1980s. The most notable feature is the Hamm's bear, their mascot. You may be surprised to learn that he's simply called the bear. These days, Hamm's is still brewed in true family tradition from the purest water and the choicest barley malt, grain, and hops. And that is actually a fun fact about Minnesota and the Twin Cities in particular. We have a lot of very successful breweries, some like Hamm's, Grain Belt Premium, or Grain Belts in general, Summit. These are beers that you can find nationwide. Surly Brewing Company is obviously still growing, but is available in a lot of states. And breweries are like a staple of our culture here. And a big part of that is because our cities have access to really good water.
And a lot of it.
Yeah, and a lot of it, which is obviously the foundation of beer. If you're not starting with good quality water, then you're not going to have a great quality product. And we have good quality water as part of our public water system. So like the water you get out of the tap here is quite delicious as long as like your pipes aren't gross. So it's no wonder that there are the brewery market here is so fucking saturated. It's wackadoo. You
it's like
can
Denver.
barely, it's almost like worse.
Yeah.
You can like throw a rock in any direction, especially on the northeast side of Minneapolis, and hit a fucking brewery. Many of them are across the street, next door. It's crazy. So the Hamm's classic beer, its extremely balanced taste is sparkling and refreshing with a hint of hops. It's 4.7% ABV. Founded in St. Paul, Minnesota in 1865, Hamm's beer was a top 10 beer brand in the 1960s and remains authentic to its original heritage. In fact, the cans have looked the same for 40 years.
Wow.
So this is not a vintage can, and it is very like mid-century. It's got the pine trees and like a crown. It's like the king of beers. If you look at
Isn't Budweiser the king of beers?
Well, no, but I mean, yes, that's not a Hamm slogan, but it's like using that reference, like it's a top tier, it's a royal product. But you can really tell that this is like some 60s ass marketing.
Yeah.
And
that
it has
is
not
Grandpa's
changed
basement.
a bit. Yes, this is Grandpa's basement. And so these are not like vintage re-release cans. This is just what they've been. They just stuck with a good thing.
It's the real deal.
It's a classic American lager, and it pairs well with a wide range of deliciously unpretentious comfort foods like fried apps, mild cheeses, and shellfish.
Fried apps, mild
Cheese
cheeses,
curds, mild cheese, mozzarella sticks, and lobster mac and cheese.
Fucking yum. Give me the curds.
That's exactly what I want for dinner is cheese curds and mac and cheese.
That reminds me of all the meals all the meals I had in Duluth for your wedding. I had cheese curds at least twice a day, and I was pregnant, so I was ordering them.
You needed it.
I needed it. My child is mostly curd.
That was childcare.
Yeah.
Plus, we all know Hamm's beer is a brat's best friend. So pick up a six-pack of 16 fluid ounce cans today. It's the perfect for hanging out with family and friends.
Wow.
Should we crack her open?
You should ask me what I'm drinking today.
All right. What are you drinking?
Well, I was inspired.
Bitch, if you have a Hamm's, I'm going to be so... What? It's worse? I don't like this!
It's technically 30 times better than that. Because my husband does drink.
Oh my God! That is a case of Hamm's.
It's really heavy.
It's huge.
30. Look how beautiful their branding is.
I'm obsessed.
I asked Corey if he could get me like a 6-pack of Hamm's or whatever, because I know he'd drink it. He loves this shit. They didn't have anything smaller than a 30-pack.
This is why I was so adamant that I try to find one single can for free, even if I had to drive all the way to Redacted to get it.
Redacted. They're cold, too.
Yes! All right.
I'm going to crack this box open.
Crack
if you
that
don't
box.
mind.
No, please. That box is as big as your torso.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah.
It's
Shall
so
we
rare
crack?
that we get to drink the same thing. I love
know.
this.
I know. Even if, concessions were made.
Yeah.
Okay,
Wow.
she'll just sit right here.
That's
And
perfect.
Corey goes, don't drink too much. You might have to go get June after this. I'm like, do you think I'm going to have a full
More than
beer?
one Hamms.
One.
I might finish this. I'm also definitely smoking weed because I'm not expecting to feel anything off of one can of Hamms.
And I tried to find a Hamm's glass.
He only had a Coors glass. You
I
needed
only
your
had a
parents for that.
I know.
All right, should we do it?
Let's do it.
Here we go. Oh, nice crack.
Very nice crack. Actually, it smells pretty good.
It smells like oatmeal.
It smells like Dad's.
Yeah, very drinkable.
The beer.
Light lager.
Refreshing.
It is refreshing. That's good.
I'm going to pour mine into this glass.
It's definitely going to be a situation where it's only good while it's very cold.
Yep.
And the second it starts to not be cold, this is a beer you want to drink quick. Okay. Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome.
And Lucy, it is your turn to take over. What, pray tell, is our background, psych, and maybe a little case for St. Paul crimes?
I got a smattering for us today. So just a little bit of,
Do you have a flag?
I will in 10 seconds.
God
Because
bless.
it looks weird. It looks like a face.
I can't. Maybe that's what the face, to be clear, the flag is not supposed to be a face. It's
No.
the way the symbols, it's what's that called? That pareidolia or whatever, where you like see faces in common objects.
Oh.
In a brick wall, in windows and a door. It's like that.
We're
but with
just
symbols.
biologically wired to do that too, though.
1000%. 1000%. But it does kind of look like a Mandalorian helmet face.
Yeah, or like a bear's head or something.
Yeah.
So it is gorgeous primary colors of blue, red, and yellow.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got the blue strip in the middle is supposed to represent the Mississippi River,
That makes sense.
which separates Minneapolis and St. Paul.
Mm-hmm.
The shield, that's like a red shield, it's separated into 3 parts. There's a yellow log cabin.
Oh, that's what that is. I assumed it was like a farmhouse, but this makes sense.
I think my brain put both of these images together and made it a beehive.
But it does kind of look like a beehive.
On the right, it's a golden dome. So that's like
which is the famous St. Paul capital, and it is quite exquisite. And St. Paul is our capital city of Minnesota.
Yes, and it's actually not based on the capital. It's based on St. Paul's Chapel.
Oh, weird. Well, then I
That's
wonder.
what the city is named after, is the chapel.
Then I would imagine that our capital was also designed to reflect that then. That would make perfect sense.
Yeah, this says the dome symbolizes the city of importance as the location of the Minnesota state capital, but also that it's
based
both.
on. Cool.
It's both.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then the weird little steering wheel with the wings is...
Yeah, it looks like a tire company logo. Oh,
Doesn't it?
it really does. It's giving Michelin.
Okay, well, that's
It's
funny
giving
you should say that.
Firestone.
It's giving Michelin.
St. Paul's flag is really giving Firestone right now.
Giving AutoZone.
It's giving get in the zone.
It represents the city's role as a transportation hub.
Well, bitch, let's go.
Yeah. So boats a long time ago, followed by railroads, followed by, Delta.
Angel wings.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And it's all those 3 things are in a shield. So that's like,
Their coat of arms.
Their coat of arms. Yeah.
We're the best at tires, log cabins, and domes.
Mm-hmm. And then in case you forget where you are completely, there's a banner that says St. Paul at the bottom.
Oh, thank God.
Yep, and that little star is obviously the North Star.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's a cute little star at the top, like at the crest of the shield. It's real cute.
I would have bumped that up just a little bit for some
it's kind of like
separation.
right in the crotch of the star.
It reminds me of that torture device where you sit on that triangle and the triangle just goes up your,
Yes. It reminds me of the scene in Drop Dead Gorgeous when they are rehearsing the dance
on the sawhorses.
and the dog girl falls onto the sawhorse puss first.
Oh.
And then it just pans to her under a tree off the side with a big bag of ice on her crotch. They remade my skin. My belly was skin from my butt. Anyway.
Oh, I'm just out here sporting the young girls.
Oh, God. Time for a rewatch.
That was not filmed in St. Paul. It might have been partially. It probably partially was.
Yeah.
But it was largely filmed in
Eden Prairie.
Rosemont.
Well, and that too.
Yeah.
They just shot scenes in Eden Prairie.
As Amanda said, St. Paul is the capital of Minnesota. It isn't Minneapolis. And is situated in the southeastern part of the state. The city adjoins Minneapolis on the west, and together they form the Twin Cities metropolitan area, which is the largest conurbation in the state and in the U.S. North Central region. So
a conurbation is like two major cities that are right up each other's asses.
It's an extended urban area. So it's usually two or more like bigger towns that their suburbs kind of grow together. So they just kind of merge.
Sure.
So like
all of Houston.
Yes. Like Dallas, Fort Worth. Another big example of that is like London and Birmingham.
Oh, okay.
Even though they're like 2.5 hours away by car, they're just one big mass. So the Sioux and the Ojibwe peoples were early inhabitants of the area. And in the Dakota language, it is called Imnazah Ska. So Imnazah means ledge, Ska means white. So it's like the white bluffs over the river.
Yeah, there's like limestone cliffs and shit along the river. It's really beautiful. There's several river roads that'll take you through and out of St. Paul that are just stunning to behold.
The natural spaces in St. Paul are definitely
gorgeous,
far superior.
Oh, yeah. Minneapolis has the lakes, but St. Paul has like the beautiful landscapes.
They have lakes too, but...
They do, but not as many as Minneapolis does. Like right in the city.
And there's a lot of natural preservation efforts around there. In 1805, Lieutenant Zebulon Montgomery Pike. I'm sorry.
So that's like a metal band.
Zebulon
Pike.
Is it? Or does it just sound like one?
No, it might be Nebulon Pike, but let me look.
Zebulon. Why don't people name their kids Zebulon anymore? That's incredible.
Yeah, Zebulon Pike, musical band. Hailing from Minneapolis.
But
instrumental prog doom metal band formed in late 2002. I know Bill listens to this. Prog doom.
Zebulon Pike. Well, now you can tell him who Zebulon Pike was.
I am so excited to have this knowledge that he probably already has. But yeah, let's hear it. It's definitely this person's name that they use as their band name. There's no other explanation. I'm not even going to Google that. Because it's literally the exact name.
I mean, how are you going to stumble across Zebulon Pike
You're not.
twice?
You're not.
He was the leader of an American expedition to explore the headwaters of the Mississippi River.
I've been there.
Like, where does that shit come from? I'm just going to walk all the way up and find out.
They're gorgeous. That is a gorgeous area of the state.
He made a treaty there with the Sioux for the possession of the region, including the site on which the military outpost Fort Snelling was later built. Fort Snelling is now a state park. More natural preservation also gives me the heebs. I don't know, something about it. I can smell Fort Snelling.
Yeah, again, a lot of school field trips.
Yeah. So And I'm sure when it says he made a treaty with the Sioux, like,
yeah, we know exactly what the fuck that means.
we're putting big quotations around there.
Yup.
The first land claim was made by Pierre Pig's Eye Parent,
Ugh.
who Abraham.
He had to a pig's eye.
Mm-hmm. So his nick, everyone just called him Pig's Eye. I think he was Irish.
Weird.
Who Abraham Perry closely followed. The settlement was known as Pig's Eye Landing until 1841, when a Roman Catholic missionary named Lucien Gaultier built a log chapel and dedicated it to the Apostle Paul. That is the man whose painting I have in my folder.
I figured, but talk about a fucking jump scare when I logged in to access my notes. I was like, what is this grizzled visage?
I'm so sorry. It looks like a 4-year-old with a beard and like a lifetime's worth of angst on his face.
He's so gross. And you had told me you had a surprise for me, which now I know is the Hamms.
Yeah.
But I logged on and saw that, and I was like, I really hope this isn't the surprise, because he's really scary and I hate him.
Yeah, me too.
So I got 2 surprises today.
You did?
Yeah.
And it's still early.
God bless.
So the Catholic missionary built basically a church, called it St. Paul, who, by the way, the Apostle Paul, St. Paul, was beheaded in Rome.
I want to do an everybody's so creative montage video of how different ways that they killed saints and like martyrs.
I mean, some of them were radical.
Wild.
Yeah.
Like beheading is nothing compared to some of these other ones. So I
Flayed, having your eyeballs just out, and then I think she had to eat them.
As you said earlier about me wanting to make a video about the Wicked Press Tour, I want to make a video about this, and we're going to tap into our inner jewels, and we're going to make the video.
Yeah, just make the fucking video.
Make the fucking video.
Okay, so Lucien Gaultier built this tiny church. In 1849, St. Paul became the capital of the newly formed Minnesota Territory, and it was made the state capital when Minnesota was admitted to the Union in 1858. And now St. Paul Cathedral. Very beautiful.
Very beautiful. Gorgeous architecture in St. Paul.
Did you know that the difference between a cathedral and a basilica is whether or not a bishop has visited it?
Oh, no, I didn't, because I had no idea the difference between a cathedral and a basilica. I assumed it was in the architecture style, or like the way that it was built. But that makes a lot more sense.
It's a Jesus rule.
Got it.
Basilica. As soon as I said that, I started doubting myself. Okay. A cathedral is the home church of a bishop, where the basilica is a church that has been designated for its historical architecture or spiritual significance. Wow, I got that wrong.
So we were both kind of right, though.
So a church is a regular church.
Spiritual significance, architectural style.
A cathedral has a bishop. A basilica is... it can be just a church, has nothing to do with a bishop, and it's like, it's just important. Well, can't wait to tell that to Ben, because
he led you astray.
Led me astray.
Wow.
You hear that, Ben?
Hear it, Ben?
So much for our...
Blanche, you are
so much for our friendship.
My rabbit is having cage-free time, and he's causing a ruckus back here. So sorry if you can hear that. Nothing I can do about it.
So we talked about how we always feel creepy. At least I feel creepy when I'm in St. Paul.
I don't feel creepy. I usually just feel irritated by the driving and the streets.
Yeah.
And the lack of late night food.
There's just something off.
I get it. I respect.
It's an atmospheric. Something is different.
I respect you.
Thank you. I respect you.
I see you and respect you.
So this
I'm
begs
holding
the question,
space for you to be afraid of St. Paul.
Thank you.
And then just hold one finger.
Hold my fingertip. But maybe I feel creeped out every time I go there, because there's a lot of spirit activity in St. Paul.
Oh, yeah.
Haunted to the max. So first of all, let's discuss the Fitzgerald Theater because I know we've talked about its hauntedness when we've done live shows at the Fitz, but I don't remember if we've addressed that on the show.
I don't think so. And just, it is the holiday season. If you want something fun to do with your family, you can still purchase the live stream of our last Fitzgerald live show from September.
I said go to the Nutcracker.
It would be a rockin' holiday good time. You could buy it to get drunk with your cousins on Christmas.
Yeah.
And watch and just have a really nice time. So I just thought I'd plug that and get that on our website.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Not the Nutcracker.
No,
us.
Fuck the Nutcracker.
I know.
Us. Watch us.
Watch us.
Watch the movie
we went
Us
to St.
and then
Paul,
watch
so you don't
me
have
and
to.
Lucy. Yeah, go to St. Paul.
Okay, so during the 1985 renovation of this 105-year-old theater off of Wabasha Street, workers demolished a false ceiling, found a second balcony where they discovered a note addressed to a stagehand named Ben. Not the liar, not my Latin friend, the liar.
Not that lying sack of shit, Ben. Ghost Ben.
Ghost Ben. Shortly thereafter, strange things began happening. Workers reported that tools would disappear and empty bottles of muscatel wine were inexplicably found on the site.
Sure were. The guy, I guess, froze to death is what someone at the theater was telling us.
In the theater?
No, he got drunk and I think he was in between housing maybe and was staying late. And he stepped outside out those back doors that we use and it was really cold and he had been drinking. I think he
locked
just
himself out.
Either locked himself out or maybe sat down to have a smoke or something and just he froze to death outside of the theater. And that's why he stays.
Way worse ways to die than freezing
to
death.
But
still, didn't need to happen.
Didn't need to happen. But
I'm picturing Jack Torrance.
At least, I mean, and again, that is the information that we got from one of the staff at the Fitzgerald who was referencing a YouTube video. So maybe that, I don't know if that's
it's a rumor. Unsubstantiated.
Yeah, I don't have any citations to provide for that. That's just that's what I heard.
Okay. I like that. But yeah. Empty bottles of wine, he would have loved this podcast. Poor Ben. Some even say that Ben has been seen around the theater. Some claimed to have heard eerie, unexplained singing.
Ooh, yeah.
According to CBS, there are also reports of Vaudeville Veronica, a performer from the theater's early days, and it might be her who's the one singing after hours.
I am not a vaudeville girly.
Vaudeville Veronica.
I feel like I respect her right to exist as a specter. I respect her as a specter. But I think I would be annoyed.
As a specter? I
respect her. But I think I'd be annoyed by her because I'm not down for being haunted by a vaudevillian stage performer.
Do you think she's holding space for Defying Gravity?
I think she's holding one of those ventriloquist dummies and getting ready to do a bit.
Ew.
That's what I think she's holding space for. God bless her.
That's not all vaudeville is.
Not all. I know it's not all vaudeville is, but it is a pretty classic vaudevillian performance.
Yeah. She
Vaudeville
probably just wore maroon lipstick and wore a short skirt and sang.
Yeah, and talked like this. I killed my husband with a jack in the box.
Like Val.
Like Val. Oh my God, yes!
The best Broad City skit ever.
Yep. When Abby is too drunk and blacks out, she becomes Val and has secret access to like
speakeasies
around the city.
Butch speakeasy.
They
chain
all know her
smoking.
by name.
Hey Val.
She shows up in a beautiful gown. She gets perfectly dressed for it.
It's a suit.
Was she in a suit or was she in a flapper dress?
I think she's in a suit. Because she's smoking I'm Googling
I'm
it.
obsessed. I'm obsessed. It's so funny.
Broad City Val. Oh, yeah. She's got a top hat.
Okay. I need to rewatch Broad City. It's time.
She's wearing like shorts and tights, but it's still like a suit.
Yeah, and like a tux suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. This is coming back to me now. I'm thinking of other people in the speakeasy that are in like really decked out 20s party garb.
Yeah. She has a top hat. She's smoking a thin cigar. And then she gets on stage and like belts out a tune.
Mm-hmm. Does a full performance.
Oh my God.
She can never remember any of it.
No.
It's so fucking good.
The scene is called
such a good
Visit
episode.
from Val. Okay, it's season 2. It's the first episode in season 2.
No way. They came out fucking swinging. That episode is so good.
The name of it is #FOMO.
I am for fucking sure's gonna start a rewatch of Broad City. That's gonna help me with my winter depression.
So you got 2 John Benet Ramsey's docs.
Yep.
And all of Broad City.
All of Broad City.
That'll take you through the Thanksgiving weekend.
Oh, it'll take me through almost to Christmas. I'm almost done with Gossip Girl. I have to finish that first. I'm in season 6.
Okay.
So that I started that in my COVID stupor, and now I'm a completionist. I can't stop until it's done.
I can't believe you have watched 6 seasons of Gossip Girl in like a week.
Let's be honest, 2 weeks, and I slept through the first like week of watching it. I just like had it on in the background, but it's not hard to follow. So through my COVID coma, I would be like, okay, I'm gonna pay attention.
It's
for
really
10
not.
minutes.
It's not like The Wire.
No, it's more like Passions, the soap opera. It's pretty easy to follow. Anyway, what are we talking about?
So cringy. Okay, we're talking about haunted St. Paul places.
Oh, right. Okay.
So the next one is the St. Paul City Hall and Courthouse.
Okay.
This was built between 1930 and 1932. The City Hall and Courthouse is said to be haunted by apparitions wearing old-style clothing. Mm-hmm. People have reported hearing laughing in empty rooms.
Hate that.
And
hate that.
And like the clicking of like high-heeled shoes walking down empty hallways.
No.
The phantom of a shoe-shine man has been seen in the lobby. It is rumored that the ghosts of convicts who were sentenced to hang are still lingering in the halls, even decades after Minnesota abolished the death penalty.
Well, why would they be lingering at the Fitzgerald Theater? Were they hanged there?
No, this is the City Hall and Courthouse. We're on to the next haunted site.
Okay. I was like, why?
Why?
This makes you
because
go so
they saw
lost.
the Nutcracker there once, and they have a deep emotional attachment to that location.
That actually... I would accept that answer. That tracks. That's valid.
Okay, the next location. We're on to the next location now.
Got it.
So this is maybe my favorite part about St. Paul, the Wabasha Street Caves.
Yeah, I'm glad you're talking about them because I referenced them like once in my case, but I want people to know what this shit's about.
Okay, so these caves were originally part of a number of naturally formed caves that were carved out of sandstone by the Mississippi's rushing waters.
Mm.
Around the 1840s, some of these naturally formed caves like got big. They were enlarged.
Mm-hmm.
Engorged. And new ones were dug when the area was mined for silica sand to be used in glass production.
Interesting.
They made a lot of glass in St. Paul because of the natural resources that they had there.
Well, shit.
So they were down in these caves, basically kind of digging them out to get that sand.
Yep. Making their glass.
Albert Mocknot, a French immigrant who arrived in St. Paul in the early 1900s, started a mushroom growing operation with other... This sounds like the Penguin. Have you seen the Penguin?
Yeah.
He's growing this mushroom drugs down in the sewers.
Bro, the fucking Penguin is so good.
It's so good.
Anyway, continue. I could talk all day about the Penguin. We don't have time. We don't have time.
Penguin crimes. So this Albert guy got together with other investors and started growing mushrooms in the Wabasha Street caves.
Honestly, brilliant.
During Prohibition in the 1920s, Munchnot converted the caves into a restaurant and nightclub.
Yep.
And this venue was known as the Wabasha Street Speakeasy.
My niece still plays with one of the like brass jazz bands that does regular gigs down there, like once a month, and you can go and swing dance.
It's so haunted down there.
I've been to the Wabasha Street Caves a couple times. I've been to weddings there.
I've never been there.
Oh, they're cool. They're cool.
Okay.
It has a cool bar. It's like you're in a cave. It's fucking weird.
So there's like cave walls.
Oh, yeah. But then there's like a nice floor and then a really cool bar and like cool lighting and a stage for the band. It's like, it is definitely like going back in time. It's a very cool experience. Next time you're up here, we'll go get a drink there.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Only if we dress as Val.
Done. Done. And act as Val the whole time.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Yeah, all right. Let's fucking do it.
In 1933, William and Josie Lehman opened the Castle Royale, or maybe
Rebecca
it's just Royal.
Lehman.
Rebecca Ann Lehman opened the Castle Royal, a nightclub in the same caves. And this club was said to be a site for some intense gangster-related activities.
Oh, yeah.
It is rumored that nearly 30 apparitions haunt the former speakeasy today. One of them is a man often seen straightening his tie in front of the mirror outside the men's room.
Hate that.
He is wearing a navy blue double-breasted suit and is believed to be a gangster, most likely from the Prohibition era. This is obviously all speculation.
Oh, yeah. Of course. Of course.
Some employees... okay. You're not going to like this. Some employees claim to see faces looking back at them from the mirror in the employee bathroom.
No.
Mm-hmm. And a former tour guide for the place has reported hearing whistling and footsteps.
No.
So we
I
gotta
have
go
heard
to the
the
caves.
whistling of a ghost once. It's not fun.
Ew. At Mixed Blood?
No, at Harriet Brasserie, I went down to get wine from the wine cellar, and there was no one in the prep kitchen, no one in the wine cellar. I was alone during a busy Friday night service. Everybody was upstairs, and I was bartending, and I ran down to get more wine, and I heard and like felt someone whistling and whipped around thinking it was like
right
an
next
employee
to you?
fucking with me, like right behind me. And there
Ew.
was nobody there.
Nope. Was that the night you quit?
No. I've technically never quit. Like, my number still works to log in. Which reminds me, I need to reach out to Fernando.
You should have logged in during Robbie and Aaron's wedding.
I did. My number is still used when needed. It's amazing.
Were you working that night?
No, I wasn't working that night. But I like to go behind the bar and log in just to like fuck with them and then log out so that like when they run a payroll report.
Oh my God.
It's so brief that they don't
you have
to
8 seconds. No.
Yeah. And they just delete it. But like, I just want to be like, hashtag never forget. But that does remind me, I like for combating my winter molly grubs, I want to like do a bartending shift there every once in a while.
You should.
I really want to because I miss it. I miss it so fucking much. And I love this job a lot, but like we work in isolation most of the time. So I'm not interacting with people. I co-work with friends sometimes, but like it's not the same. I miss the chaos.
Yeah.
So I'm going to see if they have any flexibility in the schedule to pop me on even just a couple times a month.
That'd be so fun.
It'd be so fun.
Yeah. You'd be like on a high for a couple days.
I really would. I think it would be really good for my mental health.
I support this. I'm going to remind you of this in the next 3 weeks if you haven't done it yet.
All right.
Okay, just a couple more things for us. A little bit of history about the Minnesota State Fair. This takes place in St. Paul every single year. The end of summer tradition is held at the Minnesota State Fairgrounds during the 12 days leading up to and through Labor Day. The Minnesota Agricultural Society was founded in 1854 to promote the Minnesota territory's agriculture by presenting an annual fair first held in 1855 in Minneapolis. The first state fair was held in 1859, obviously after it became a state. During the fair's early years, the site of the exposition changed annually. So in the 1870s and early 1880s, civic groups from both St. Paul and Minneapolis worked to provide a permanent home for the fair in their respective cities, but couldn't agree on anything.
Yeah.
So they were just going to swap it from Minneapolis to St. Paul every other year.
It's too big. It's too darn big.
There's just too much
it literally needs
working
permanent
together.
Fairgrounds. Yeah.
But they were going to make permanent fairgrounds in both places.
Oh, okay.
So it was just like, why? The fair finally found a permanent home at its present location in 1885 when Ramsey County, which is where St. Paul is, donated its 210-acre poor farm to the state for use by the Agricultural Society, and that is the body that currently governs the state fair.
I wonder if the state fairgrounds are in a St. Paul zip code or a Falcon Heights zip code, because they're like right either partly in or right on the border of Falcon Heights.
Minnesota State Fair location. It is in Falcon Heights.
There we go. I know my fucking state fair trivia. But I mean, you can literally throw a stick from the state fairgrounds of Falcon Heights into St. Paul. It's
right there.
It's right there.
You know what? For the sake of this episode, it's right fucking there.
I would venture a guess that the entrance is like the main entrance is technically in Falcon Heights, and that's why it sets the address. But this encompasses a huge area. So I would bet
210 square acres.
There you go. So I would bet there's like a portion of it that's in St. Paul, and then maybe at the time that it was that area was founded, Falcon Heights may not have even existed. That just might have been how.
That's true, because
the town line formed later on. It was probably originally St. Paul.
1885.
Exactly. So I doubt there even was a suburb, a first-tier suburb. It's like not, you could barely even call it a suburb. It's like the Richfield of Minneapolis. You're basically still in South Minneapolis. So.
Okay, so the poor farm was donated to the state in 1885. And in 1966, Fairchild the Gopher became the official mascot of the state fair and was joined by his nephew Fairborn in 1983. So Fairchild
that Gopher is still the fucking mascot.
Did you know it was called Fairchild?
I think it's on his thing, but if you had asked me like, who is the Gopher named Fairchild? I'd be like, I don't fucking know what the fuck you're talking about.
So it's Fairchild and his nephew Fairborn. Fairchild got his name, which is a play on the institution's title after a statewide naming contest. People elected to name this Gopher Fairchild.
It's a common name and it has the word fair in it.
Nope, it's because it's a tribute to Henry S. Fairchild, who was the man who suggested that the poor farm become the permanent site of the state fair in the first place.
I think Fairchild killed off Melbourne, the nephew, because Fairborn, sorry.
But Fairchild came first.
I know, and I think that Fairborn was born later, but I think he's long dead. I have never heard of or seen Fairborn or another cute little gopher on any state fair branding. It's always just the one fucking guy,
just Fairchild,
the star of the show with his little like flat top hat with like the ticket sticking out of it and his little suit.
Well, why did we need Fairborn in the first place? Why do we need two gophers in two different generations?
Well, here's a more important question. What's cuter than one cute gopher?
Is it that cute?
Two cute gophers. I mean, gophers are cute. I don't think that the state fair logo is anything groundbreakingly cute, but it's fine. Okay. But I haven't seen the history of the logos. Maybe the logos that had this cute Uncle Gopher, I can't talk, and
Fairchild,
nephew Gopher,
Fairborn,
hanging out together were fucking precious. Maybe,
but Fairborn's dead.
I think Fairborn's dead.
Fairborn hasn't been seen in decades.
Fairborn's at minimum, he's missing.
Fairborn got hit by a car.
Hashtag find
in the late
Fairborn.
80s. Justice for Fairborn. Have you heard of the Frogtown neighborhood?
Yeah.
So it's located northwest of downtown St. Paul, and it's like part of several smaller neighborhoods, including Mount Airy, Capitol Heights, Rondo, which we could talk about Rondo too. So Rondo in the 1960s was a very prosperous neighborhood of like 80% of St. Paul's Black residents.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what goes through there now? I-94. They fucking destroyed the whole community because of the population to build 94.
Black and brown people live there.
But I think it's still a pretty vibrant neighborhood. They're sticking to their traditions, roots. Like it's still a vibrant, active neighborhood. Like they're working on kind of like reclaiming it, you know? Also Lower Rice Street and East Midway. So the area began to populate in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. One story says that then Archbishop John Ireland heard a chorus of frogs and referred to the area as Froschberg, or Frog City. They just had a lot of frogs there because they have a lot of like swamps and marshes. So they literally just had a lot of frogs there.
Okay, I stand corrected about Fairborn.
Okay.
He does still exist. What's obnoxious about this is that the mascot costumes are identical, except Fairchild has green accents. It is green and white striped jacket, a green band on his straw hat, and green eyes. And Fairborn has blue of all of those things, but just looks exactly the same.
Jesus
so
Christ.
I feel like I haven't really seen that much marketing as of late where they are featured together, but this Pioneer Press article that referenced them and showed a photo was from 2016. So within the last 10 years, Fairborn and Fairchild have still been making their rounds in the fair, and I probably just assumed they were the same guy and didn't even clock that they had one green, one blue.
Seen in the same room together? Is this an Avril Lavigne situation? Fairborn?
To be fair, no, because all the photos I just looked at, they're in the parade together, but Photoshop exists, but there are a lot of witnesses. So, and I have watched the parade.
It's AI.
So it's AI. I probably have seen these two motherfuckers together in the parade and just was not paying attention or too high or drunk to care.
Okay.
But I'm really glad we got to the bottom of it because I suspected foul play and I was wrong.
I'm glad you were wrong because
Thank you.
I'm glad Fairborn is seemingly alive and well.
Thriving.
We will continue to be Fairborn truthers. I eagerly await your in-person reports from next September.
I want a photo of the two of you together, each holding today's newspaper. And I want that in our
bucket of cookies.
I want that in our inbox by nightfall, or there's gonna be problems.
Or I will abduct you.
Yeah, or
And
I'm
then
making my
go
prophecy
missing.
come true.
Okay, I got a couple fun facts for you, and then I have a very short case.
Okay.
So downtown's Rice Park is older than New York City's Central Park.
Suck it, New York City.
Yeah.
Eat my whole asshole.
Ick.
What? I showered.
That's true.
Although I did have to poop after my shower, which is so annoying, but
Bidet.
tushy bidet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, don't sleep on that bidet.
No. I would sleep on it, though. It's very
I would.
soothing. That would send me to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I read in one article that somebody described Minneapolis as the farthest city from the West Coast and St. Paul as the furthest city from the East Coast.
That totally makes sense.
Like they are culturally dramatically different.
Yeah, I also have a really hard time with directions like north, south, east, west. I don't fucking know. I just like go by vibes, what direction I'm heading. But the way I remember that St. Paul is to the east.
No wonder you walked 2 miles in the wrong direction in Florence.
Bro, the vibe was not guiding me. Guiding me.
Yeah.
It usually does guide me. The vibe did not guide me.
Okay, that's fine.
But I always remember that St. Paul is on the east side because I hold a sense of lament that St. Paul, my dreaded foe, is closer to my hometown of West Hartford than I am in Minneapolis.
It's between you.
Yeah, it's holding me back.
It is.
It must be destroyed. I have no interest in ever moving back to West Hartford, but it must be destroyed for the nostalgia.
The creepiness.
For the vibe.
For the vibe. It must be destroyed. For the vibe.
For the vibe. Trust the vibe.
Okay, so remember like Camp Snoopy at Mall of America?
Yes, R.I.P.
It's because Charles Schultz, the creator of Peanuts, grew up in St. Paul.
Sure did, and now there's all those, speaking of fucking creepy.
Those statues?
Creepy ass Peanuts character statues all over that goddamn city.
I hate
and then
it.
we have this other series of statues. I don't remember if it's in Minneapolis. It might be in Minneapolis too. That's just like, it's like a stick figure, but thick. And it's sort of like leaning in the wind and its little hands are up.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And they
it looks
just
like the
paint
Children's
them.
Hospital.
Yeah, it's like the Children's Hospital logo, but they paint them in all these different like mural pattern, whatever. Like one of them is like constellations in the night sky, whatever.
No, thank you. Get a better shape. I would love the art if it was in a better fucking shape.
Yeah, I just don't. We have so many amazing artists in this fucking area, and we're putting Peanuts characters and faceless child statues all over the fucking Twin Cities. What are we doing?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Well, we're not going to care about this next fun fact.
Great.
Minnesota's oldest athletic organization.
Next.
Okay. The St. Paul Chamber Orchestra. I just skip it.
Next. Okay. St. Paul, Minnesota Chamber Orchestra
is the only full-time orchestra in the U.S., and the group has won 2 Grammys.
Oh, they're fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
They're amazing. A lot of people will like dedicate their entire like arts budget or the majority of their arts budget to get like season tickets to the St. Paul Orchestra. It's like hardcore here. People love it.
I know I've seen it, but I was probably distracted by how creepy my surroundings were.
I know I've seen the Minnesota Orchestra a bunch of times because they play at the Minneapolis Orchestra Hall. It's just closer.
And didn't they play at the Excelsior 4th of July for a long time,
they used
too?
to. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they still do.
I don't think they do.
Yeah.
Mickey's Diner in downtown St. Paul, which
finally
is like,
open again.
They are?
Yes.
New owners?
I think so, but everything is like the car, I think, is a historic landmark, so they couldn't.
That's still there
it.
because I saw it like 2 months ago.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't open when we were at the Fitz, but it's back open now.
Yes. I can't wait to tell Corey.
We gotta go. It's so fucking good. It's
adorable.
Mm-hmm.
It has been featured in 3 movies. The Mighty Ducks, obviously. Jingle All the Way, also obviously. And A Prairie Home Companion.
Yeah, but also obviously.
Yeah. And Scotch tape was invented at the former 3M headquarters in St. Paul.
Aren't the Coen brothers from here too? Maybe not St. Paul, but I think they're from Minnesota.
They are from St. Louis Park.
All right.
Where my sister doesn't live.
I knew there was a saint in there. That's why anyway.
Some kind of saint. Someone got beheaded in Rome.
Louis Park. Flayed.
Louis Park got flayed.
Poor Louis Park.
Okay. So now I have a short case for us. This is as yet unsolved. So if you have any ideas, tips, info, whatever, please let us know. On August 10th, 1998, Spice Girls time, Rosanna Forkham, aged 15, was seen by her family members for the last time.
Oh, God.
4 days later, she and her friend, 21-year-old April Geyer, were reported missing. One thing that stands out to me, as a 21-year-old, I don't think I would be friends with a 15-year-old.
100% was going to be my question. I wouldn't even be hanging out with my sister.
I think
maybe they were neighbors?
Well, we'll kind of let's speculate sort of down the road.
Okay.
But they were both reported missing in mid-August of 98. The 2 girls had a history of going unaccounted for, but had never gone fully missing for this long, which is why it took 4 days for their their families to be like, this is serious. Often they disappeared together for extended periods. Rosanna's friends, so this is the 15-year-old's friends, even stated that she planned to run away to California.
Maybe they didn't know she was 15. If she was like sneaking out, planning to run away, and again, this is not victim blaming, this is me speculating.
Mm-hmm.
I could see, because I mean, we certainly went to high school with a handful of maybe a little more troubled young gals that I can vividly remember who would befriend people in college, get fake IDs, like kind of do some of the bad girl, quote unquote, things that we were too pussy to do.
Especially if those things included like partying and running away for days on end. Like that is 21-year-old behavior.
Well, then a 21-year-old is not accountable to their parents. So if this girl is just rolling with an older crowd and kind of sneaking by saying like, oh no, I'm 18, you know, I could see it. I could totally see it. I don't get it if they all knew she was 15. I do get it if maybe there was some ambiguity to her age. Intentional ambiguity.
Yeah. And we don't know how their relationship really was.
No.
I mean, it could have been even something like romantic even. I don't know.
We don't know.
So their loved ones said that both girls normally called their relatives shortly after, like, they had been
going
gone.
Off the radar, yeah.
According to the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, Rosanna and April could last be traced to a party in mid-August at an apartment in St. Paul. In 2000, investigators received a tip from an anonymous informant. That person told authorities that Rosanna and April may have attempted to hitchhike home after the party.
Okay.
The man stated that his friend strangled both women shortly after he had abducted them and taken them to his apartment in St. Paul.
Okay, so the person who gave the tip doesn't sound like an attendee of the party. Sounds like he heard something from a guy who said he let these girls get into his car after a party in St. Paul.
Correct.
Okay.
The caller did not provide the name of the alleged killer.
Come on, caller.
They, probably because they claimed to have assisted the attacker with burying the girls.
So they don't want to be caught.
Near farmland in Wadena County, Minnesota, near the Leaf River. So this person was just calling to say, this is what happened. Here's where you can find the bodies. I'm not telling you anything else. Like, you do your job, figure it out.
Did they find them?
No.
Oh, fuck.
Wadena County is about 175 miles from St. Paul. So it's quite a ways away. The county itself is made up of mostly rural land and spans 543 square miles. It's a large, desolate county.
So is there any confirmation that they were even there? Like in that area?
This is just from the tip.
Okay.
The Bureau of Criminal Apprehension excavated areas of land that fit the description given by the anonymous caller. And they also brought out cadaver dogs to explore the area. But despite extensive efforts, the girls were not found. Despite the lack of progress in this case, Rosanna and April's family members and friends have not given up hope. They ran a billboard campaign earlier this year of like their pictures, like a missing persons billboard.
Yeah, and then like what they might look like now.
Yeah, well, the billboard only had Rosanna, who was the 15-year-old. I think probably because the other one was just of age and they knew that they were together and I don't know, maybe for whatever reason, it was
they're focusing
Rosanna. And those were put up in St. Cloud. So I think Wadena County is up closer to St. Cloud, and that's why they kind of put it sort of like part way, like halfway.
That makes sense.
The billboard has helped generate a renewed sense of interest in the case, and since the billboard has gone up, the Facebook group dedicated to Rosanna and April has seen an uptick in member requests.
Okay.
So trying to revive this.
Attention.
But 2 girls missing since 98.
Wow.
Yeah. So they are still missing. I will put some more information in my notes, and we can include like some links and stuff in the show notes.
I mean, you really hope that cases like this are solved by the missing persons being located alive.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to imagine, like, this is so devastating to these families that, like, if these girls are found alive and they just didn't want anything to do with their families.
They ran away to California.
Yeah, changed their identities, whatever. I don't want to hope it's not that, because I don't want people to be dead.
Mm-hmm.
And as a family member, I have to imagine I would be so devastated that I had been searching for decades to find my loved one, going to great lengths, great efforts, probably processing the worst. At this point, they're certainly, quote unquote, legally dead.
That's what I think. Like
to find out that they are alive and they just were fucking ghosting you so well that
would be fantastic.
I don't know if I'd ever recover from that. I feel like as a human, it would personally, I could process an abduction and a murder in a more effective way, because I can I can understand that than, oh no, my child maybe, or my sister, my loved one just decided to disappear and we have had no idea what happened to them and we thought you were dead.
The
anger I would have.
The unknown of having a missing child. I know we've talked about this before. I can't mentally go there.
Even imagine. It would be some of the most awful, torturous grief that anybody could possibly experience. So you don't want to believe that anybody would do that for whatever motivation they may have.
But even at this point, finding their bodies would feel so much better than continuing
just to know,
not know,
just to get a fucking answer. Oh God. Oh no.
So that is Rosanna, Forkham, and April Geyer, last seen in St. Paul in August of 1998.
Well, yeah, if you know anything, get at us, or I'm sure you can call like any international or national tip line and provide that information. So please do.
Yeah. And talk about their case.
Yeah. Share. All right.
Okay.
Well, I finished my hams. So, as you kind of touched on, but I get to go deeper on, St. Paul, Minnesota has a storied history of gangster activity, particularly during the Prohibition era of 1920 to 1933, and a little bit beyond. Its reputation as a haven for infamous criminals stemmed from the so-called O'Connor system.
Oh my God, I read about this.
Yeah, this is...
I kind of love it.
This is a buck.
Yeah.
So the O'Connor system, named after Police Chief John J. O'Connor, who was chief in St. Paul from 1900 to 1920, so he had a long career, established an informal, like not on paper,
but like everyone knew about it.
Everyone knew about it. System that allowed criminals to live in St. Paul without fear of arrest, provided they follow 3 rules. 1, they had to check in with the police when they got in. So if you're a criminal moving to St. Paul to take advantage of the O'Connor system, the cops have to know that you're there.
Yeah.
2, they are forbidden from committing crimes in St. Paul. Only St. Paul City
Go to
limits.
Falcon Heights.
Basically. And 3, they had to agree to pay bribes to city officials to maintain the structure of the system. So this is from MinPost. Quote, after becoming police chief, O'Connor reorganized the police force and gave himself nearly absolute power. Funny how history repeats itself.
Yeah, no shit.
He then reached out to criminals throughout the Midwest. So he spread the word.
He created a system and was like, I'm going to make so much fucking money off of this.
So much money. So much money. So he's like, phone a friend.
pass the word.
Pass it on.
Mhm.
He lets them know that St. Paul is a safe place for them. We're a sanctuary city.
Seriously.
He promised that the police would disregard offenders who performed their deeds beyond St. Paul, as long as they remained law-abiding while in the city.
This makes sense, honestly.
It sure does. To accomplish this plan, O'Connor required a liaison from within the criminal ranks to keep an eye on his peers. William Reddy Griffin was the first keeper of O'Connor's system. After arriving in town and meeting with the police, criminals stopped to check in with Griffin at the Hotel Savoy in downtown St. Paul.
So Griffin was like
he was a
cop,
intermediary.
but he was an undercover criminal.
He was not a cop. He was a known criminal who was working for the cops, and everyone knew that he was working for the cops because he was the liaison intermediary between the cops who established the system and told all their criminal friends.
Okay.
So this was like an open secret. Everybody knew that this was a thing. And this guy,
so
it was
funny.
like, then the police are like, hey, we should get someone on the inside that people know about and respect to be like a heavy for the cops, basically.
Okay.
That like he's going to speak their language and he's going to keep them in check. And if they fuck up and they do shit in St. Paul that they shouldn't be doing, he's going to rat. And
you're not out there expecting criminals to like go to the police station and be like, I'm a criminal. I live here now.
Yeah, there has to be an easier point person, and that was Reddy Griffin.
Okay.
So among his many duties, Griffin collected bribes and brought the money to O'Connor. When Griffin died of apoplexy, which I didn't know what that was, so I looked it up. It's basically a stroke. Cerebrovascular disease.
Cerebrovascular.
Mm-hmm. He died of apoplexy in 1913 at the age of 65, and Dapper Dan Hogan took over his role.
Okay.
It doesn't take long for the criminal rumor mill started by a cop to inform top-tier folks that St. Paul is the safe place to camp out as long as your crimes aren't committed there. So the O'Connor system lured the likes of John Dillinger, one of America's most notorious bank robbers. Dillinger frequently hid out in St. Paul. He and his gang used the city as a hideout, taking advantage of the O'Connor system. In 1934, Dillinger narrowly escaped capture at the Lincoln Court Apartments in St. Paul, where he was hiding with his girlfriend, Evelyn Frischette. This will be important to my actual case. Ma Barker and the Barker Karpis gang.
The Barker Karpis gang?
The Barker Karpis gang. The Barker Karpis gang, led by Ma Barker, a woman, and Alvin Karpis, who went by Creepy, a man, was among the...
I'm a man. They call me Creepy.
Creepy. That tracks.
No.
Yes. Every man could easily use that nickname.
Yes.
Every
they do call you Creepy.
They sure do. So Barker and Creepy, Albus Creepy, Alvin Karpis was among the most infamous. This gang was among the most infamous groups to exploit St. Paul's criminal-friendly environment. They conducted bank robberies and kidnappings while using St. Paul as their operational base in the early 1930s. Their 1933 kidnapping of, who we will get to, wealthy St. Paul brewery owner William Hamm Jr., as well as banker Edward Bremer, there's still Bremer banks in the Twin Cities, brought national attention to the city's gangster problem. And Creepy Karpis was a core member of the banker Karpis gang and became public enemy number one. He was one of the last prominent gangsters to be allowed to exploit St. Paul before federal crackdowns in the mid-1930s as a direct result of these kidnappings, which we're going to go over in more detail. Babyface Nelson, who truly did have a baby face. I put pictures of these people on the drive. So
Babier than the Apostle Paul?
Yes, because he looks a little less like rode hard and put away wet and fully busted. So he has like kind of swooping hair and a very round face and sticky outy ears. And there's a picture of him in a suit and tie.
Oh, he's adorable.
No hat, but he definitely has a baby face. Like, I don't know if that man is 40 or 14.
Oh, His cleft chin?
Yeah.
Wait, are we looking at the two side by side?
No. It's a
or the
single
one that
picture.
looks like a 6-year-old child.
Correct. Single picture, no top hat, black and white.
Truly looks like a child.
Yeah.
That man will get carded until his dying day.
He dies. Well, and he's definitely long dead, but
wow.
He was known for his violent tendencies, which is very creepy given his name is Babyface.
Yeah, no shit.
He worked closely with the Dillinger Gang and operated in St. Paul. He was often on the run and used the city as a refuge. Machine Gun Kelly, and no, not that Machine Gun Kelly, who I also put on the drive for you, and I feel it is important to share, reminds me of a Lisa Frank drawing on meth.
Okay, so I once had, oh my God. No!
Also, I didn't understand what Machine Gun Kelly's deal was, why he was famous. I knew he was married to Megan Fox. I didn't know his deal at all.
Is he a rapper?
And he's in a band. He's not a rapper. He's a musician. And I don't think I clocked that until looking up his picture to plop on the drive.
You just
didn't
know, or you didn't wonder?
I didn't know or wonder. Anything I know about Machine Gun Kelly has been forced upon me unwillingly. I have never sought out information on this person.
So I once had an erotic dream about Machine Gun Kelly, and I told my lying friend Ben about it.
God damn it, Ben. You cannot be trusted.
But this was 2 years ago? And somehow Machine Gun Kelly came up last week, and he's like, oh yeah, you
still
like
get
him.
Hot in your
and
dreams?
I was like, what? I didn't remember. And I'm like, why are you
What are you
hanging on to
talking
this?
about? And why are you spot on?
And why are you reminding me of an erotic dream I had? First of all, I have had more erotic dreams about Miley Cyrus than Machine Gun Kelly. Do not hold this guy against me.
No. We can't control our dreams.
No.
And I refuse to take responsibility for anything that I have said or done in a dream.
I have been practicing lucid dreaming. Speaking of controlling
How's it going?
Dreams. It was great because last night I had another erotic dream.
About who?
No one in particular. It was I was in a hotel in Chicago and I was waiting for him to arrive.
A faceless, nameless man.
But he was of South Asian, Southwest Asian descent.
Okay. That's
And
all you know.
Don't need to know anymore. It was a good time.
Okay.
Took place in a hotel.
You love a good, clean hotel.
But the lucid dreaming part, because sometimes you have those dreams and sometimes a thought creeps into my dream but wait, I'm married.
Mm-hmm.
And then the lucid dreaming is
I'm dreaming.
No, bitch, I'm dreaming. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, push harder.
Yeah.
Do more kinky shit.
Uh-huh. This is your past. You're
With
dreaming.
your nameless, faceless lover. That's perfect.
He wasn't faceless, but he just didn't have any kind of specific identity.
Yeah, faceless in the sense that he's not an actual person that you know or can connect to.
He was a great
The safest
kisser.
Lover is the dream lover.
Yes, dream lover.
Dream lover. So yeah, different Machine Gun Kelly, who was another Prohibition-era gangster, and he passed through St. Paul while engaging in bootlegging, kidnappings, and robberies. Like others, he benefited from the city's safe harbor policies. Sorry, this Hamm's makes me burp.
Yeah, I gave up.
I finished it.
I'm really proud of you. I have
you.
29 3/4 more to get through.
Corey has 29 3/4 more to get through.
Okay.
You're not, that's not
the
happening. Yeah, you're done. According to historian Paul Maccabee, John Dillinger, Babyface Nelson, any gangster could come to St. Paul as long as they were on their good behavior. They could go to Minneapolis and kill whoever they wanted to. They could go to Iowa and rob a bank. But when they came to St. Paul, they had to be on their best behavior. The decline of the gangster era in St. Paul was brought on by the downfall of the O'Connor system. By the late 1930s, public outrage over high-profile kidnappings, robberies, and corruption led to a federal crackdown on organized crime in St. Paul. And J. Edgar Hoover's FBI targeted the city's criminal activities. Alvin Karpis was enemy number one, and was captured in 1936, marking the beginning of the end for St. Paul's gangster era. So let's go deeper into the case that brought down the O'Connor system once and for all.
So, like the feds were like, okay, there's a lot of crime happening around the upper Midwest. Let's look into it. Oh, wait, this open secret in St. Paul. Like,
Nope.
That's kind of how that, okay.
The feds didn't give a shit about this open secret in St. Paul.
Oh, great.
We will get to why they got involved.
Okay.
So if you are a true Minnesotan, you fuck with Hamm's beer, today's pairing. And the kidnapping of William Hamm Jr., heir to the Hamm's brewery fortune, was a sensational crime that unfolded during the era of organized crime in the United States, carried out by the Barker Karpus Gang, a notorious group of criminals active during the Great Depression. And I don't know what loopholes or what maybe they were producing in the interim, but like they were able to continue functioning as Hamms during Prohibition. So I don't know if that was they were making something else.
Well, some of them just
they managed to stay open or were like allowed because of earlier standing to continue, but
so I don't know this, but at least with the in the beer industry that runs in my family lineage, during Prohibition, because they had all that clean, fresh water, they made ice and sold ice. So
there you go. Could have been something like that.
So at least that would be enough business to like keep them alive through it.
Yeah, you just switch gears until this whole thing blows over.
Exactly.
On June 15th, 1933, so at this point, Prohibition was ending and Hamm's was getting back into beer production. William Hamm Jr., then president of the Hamm Brewing Company in St. Paul, was abducted in broad daylight while walking to his office after lunch.
Scary.
4 armed men led by Creepy Karpus and the Barker brothers, Fred Barker and Doc Barker, forced Hamm at gunpoint into a waiting car and sped away. The gang had meticulously planned the abduction, relying on their connections in St. Paul's criminal underworld. So like they knew where he would be and when. They had been keeping an eye on him. They knew like, okay, this is when he goes to lunch. He goes by himself. He'll be walking back to the office at this time. It's a quieter street. He'll be unattended. That's our opportunity. And they took it.
This reminds me of the Coors abduction.
Yup. Because they couldn't keep him in St. Paul, they'd already breached O'Connor system rules by kidnapping him in St. Paul. They can't also hold him hostage in St. Paul and double breach the rules.
Double? It's not a double negative.
Nope, they don't cancel out.
It compounds.
They took him to a remote hideout in Bensonville, Illinois, where he was blindfolded and forced to write ransom letters so that the recipients knew he was alive, as they would be in his handwriting. The gang demanded a payment of $100,000, equivalent to over $2 million today. They threatened to kill Hamm if the ransom wasn't paid, and were like, no cops, no cops, no cops. The Hamm family complied. They delivered the money through trusted intermediaries and followed instructions not to tell the police. Once the ransom was paid, Hamm was released unharmed on June 19th, 1933. So he was only captured for 4 days. The gang's detailed planning had paid off and they successfully evaded capture initially. So this is from NPR. Folks in St. Paul didn't mind for a while. They bragged about rubbing elbows with famous gangsters, but Hamm's kidnapping shook St. Paul and cracks began to show in the O'Connor system. Quote, in 4 days, the ransom was paid and the Barker Karpus gang got away with it.
So they're going to do it again.
The money has never been recovered. This is from Maccabee, the historian guy.
Someone's going to do it again.
Hamm was released unharmed and, quote, needless to say, the wealthy people, the people in the mansions on Summit Avenue, were terrified that they would be next.
Yeah.
This is where that motherfucker J. Edgar Hoover steps in because rich white people are scared, so they take it up the ladder and higher level systems will get involved.
Yeah, okay.
If they hadn't complained, the FBI wouldn't have given a fuck about St. Paul in general. Mm-hmm. This was just something that these
bunch of
rich
bank
people,
robberies in Iowa.
Yep, could be like, crime is now rampant because it might affect me, even though this has been going on for fucking years.
Mm-hmm.
and we need you to get involved. So the FBI, then known as the Bureau of Investigation, became heavily involved in the case. And fun fact, it was one of the first major cases where forensic science played a crucial role because fingerprinting was still in its infancy, like latent fingerprint evidence.
Oh.
And they used that by dusting for fingerprints on the ransom notes to identify not only Hamm, but members of the Barker Karpus gang who had been in and out of prison already, and their fingerprints had been taken. So they were like, and they're in this area, we're going to cross-check against them. And I mean, they don't have like the systems that we have now, but they had some of these prints on file. The fingerprints on the ransom notes were matched to Creepy Karpus, Fred Barker, and Doc Barker, helping authorities connect the gang to the crime. Again, this marked one of the earliest uses of fingerprint analysis in a high-profile federal case. But while this investigation was still underway and no arrests had yet been made, the same gang would kidnap wealthy banker Edward Bremer Jr., heir to the Schmidt Brewery fortune. Clearly, the Barker Karpus gang had a type.
No shit. They probably did do the Coors abduction.
Maybe, because we still don't know. Was it around that same time in the 30s?
I think so.
It would have had to have happened in that time frame because this does not end with them free.
Oh, 60s.
Okay, so it wasn't them, but maybe they were inspired. Who knows? Similarly to Hamm, on January 17th, 1934, so only a handful of months, they kidnapped William Hamm and they got a handful in June, and then they went back for seconds with Bremer in January.
Damn.
He was kidnapped in broad daylight on the streets of St. Paul while he was on his way to work. He was taken to the same Bensonville, Illinois hideout. He was kept in a small room and was told that his family would be killed if he said anything to the police because they're going to have him write these letters. So they're like, don't try anything weird, like make sure your family knows not to go to the cops because we'll fucking kill you and them if they do. He was told to provide the names of people who could act as intermediaries for delivering the money, just like Hamm was. Messages demanding $200,000, which would have been over, $3 million if 100,000 was over. No, $4 million. 100,000 was over $2 million. Were left with the Bremers' trusted business associate and former chauffeur, a man named Walter McGee. The gang learned soon after that McGee had informed the police, and these kidnappers threatened to kill McGee and kill Bremer.
Oh.
And Adolf Bremer, yikes, the victim, Edward's father, refused to pay up unless the kidnappers provided proof of life.
There was all the Coorses were Adolfs too.
I know, it's so weird.
There's no excuse.
But it's German beer makers. They're all fucking German immigrants and descendants of German immigrants. So that's why.
And at least these guys are before
the rise,
Adolf
the
Hitler.
meteoric rise of Hitler. So, I mean, it's unfortunate. And also, I do get it around this time. But, like, hopefully that has gone out of fashion.
The Coors guy, though.
That was later.
He was like the fourth, and it was after Hitler.
It's like, y'all let it go.
Let it go.
So Adolf Bremer refuses to pay unless he has proof of life. So they're like, okay, write another letter and plead to be returned to your wife and children. So he did. When Adolf also tried to negotiate for a lower ransom, this is like
my God.
Like, tell me you have daddy issues without telling me you have daddy issues. You've gotten 3 fucking letters from your son, one of which is like, they're gonna kill me. Please let me come home. And dad is like, yeah. I just want to do a couple more rounds of negotiations because this is a lot of fucking money.
Let's see where each other's bottom line is.
Yeah, hold on.
Don't accept the first offer.
Never accept the first offer. So he tries to reduce the random money, and this all pisses off Fred Barker so much that he's like, let's just fucking kill Edward. This guy's not fucking worth it. His dad's an asshole. They've gone to the cops. He's trying to negotiate a lower ransom. This is the worst.
Isn't that what happened with the Hearst guy too?
I don't remember.
The William Randolph Hearst, like the newspaper guy, like his grandson got abducted or kidnapped.
He was like, I'm not paying all that.
He just didn't pay.
Mm-hmm.
And they just returned the... I think they cut off like one of his fingers or something.
And just sent him
But
back.
the grandpa was like, fuck you, no.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Okay, that's my next drunk dive.
Please. That is incredible. I mean, only because the kid was alive.
Well, yeah, I mean, the
He came
grandpa
back
was just
mostly
a fucking
unarmed.
prick.
Yes, that
He
guy
was a
sounds like a
psychopathic
dick.
early 20th century businessman
Like millionaire.
in a mansion in California, like on the coast.
No.
Yeah.
Fuck that. I'm not paying.
No, I'm not.
No.
You're crazy. No.
Kill him. See what I fucking care.
But they took him to like Afghanistan. Like he was on like a dark
Jesus.
site. Yeah. Okay. Drunk dive.
Yes, please. I need more of this. This is
Okay.
fucking wild.
It's so dumb.
Fortunately, in this case, Fred's brother Arthur, as well as Arthur Barker and Creepy Carpus, were like, no, we want money. We don't want to be fucking cold-blooded murderers.
Then you gotta
We
like
will-
get rid of the body and all that
Yeah,
shit.
that's going to be too messy. In the end, the ransom was paid. I'm not sure if it was the full 200 or if they did negotiate a lower
They
price.
got him down a little bit.
Got him down a little bit. I don't know. It was paid by dropping off a bag full of cash, which was collected by the trusted intermediary as directed. Edward was then driven to a deserted road and released on February 7th, left with only a small amount of cash and had to make his own way back home. Poor
It's like
fucking
when you
guy.
get out of prison, you only have like your wallet that you went in with.
Yeah.
And
then
like maybe
hopefully
a
someone
bus
picks you
ticket
up.
voucher.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's basically what they did for
That
this
you've
poor
spent
bastard.
the last 10 years like earning 2 cents an hour working towards.
And he was, I mean, this guy was held for almost a month in that like gross hideaway, and they just dumped him on the side of the road after his dad tried to negotiate down his ransom, gave him like $5. And we're like, good luck. You're alive. We did our part.
He tries to like call him collect for a ride. The dad just doesn't
It's
answer.
1934.
I know, but the dad would be like, no.
He's hitchhiking. Like, what are you going to do? Anyway,
Walk.
I just thought that was like
Start walking.
fucking ice cold. I was like, I can't believe this detail. This is fucking crazy. So after Hamm and now Bremer, two elite St. Paul wealthy dudes are kidnapped. This is when the neighborhood is just not in my backyard.
A
What am I
buzz.
next? Yeah, they're fucking losing it. Things really started to fall apart with the O'Connor system because they're like, the families are like, wait, this could be bad. This was really fun, but I don't think I'm on board with this anymore.
It was funny
Now
for
that
a
my
while.
life is threatened. Quote, 10 families from St. Paul hired a private detective. He wiretapped the St. Paul Police Department. This is, again, according to that historian Maccabee. It had the cops talking to the crooks on tape, as it were, that was published in the St. Paul Daily News. And the embarrassment, the humiliation in St. Paul that they tolerated the crooks caused a clean house in St. Paul. I think it's less the embarrassment and more the, oh no, now this might affect me. It used to be cool and fun, and it's not cool and fun anymore. We have to
Absolutely.
fucking shut this down.
Yeah. Because I feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly. But it certainly was a collective embarrassment because other cities that were not aware of this practice were like, what the fuck are y'all doing? Like, what? Y'all are
We
crazy.
can do that?
We could have done that? These kidnappings brought significant attention to the Barker Karpus gang, making them one of the most wanted criminal organizations in the country. Wealthy St. Paul elite wanted to make an example of them to send a message to all the other gangsters using St. Paul as a safe haven that their bullshit would no longer be tolerated. The Barker Karpus gang's eventual downfall came through a combination of arrests and deadly confrontations with law enforcement that actually ended up killing Fred Barker, one of the brothers. Creepy Karpus was captured in 1936 and became the last of the FBI's public enemy number one figures to be apprehended at that time. He spent decades in Alcatraz before being released in 1969. Doc Barker, the other Barker brother, was also apprehended alive and sent to Alcatraz, which I kept reading as Azkaban.
It's kind of the same thing.
It's basically the same thing. So today, St. Paul embraces its gangster history as a tourist attraction. So that's like a big thing with the Wabasha Caves and a lot of the like ghost tours. We'll talk about people who met an unfortunate fate as a result of these like old time Prohibition era gang hideouts.
Yeah, I Googled why is St. Paul creepy, and the whole page, well, almost, was gangster-related ghost tours.
Yep, that's a very popular tourist attraction here. Sites like the Wabasha Street Caves and the Landmark Center, where federal trials for gangsters had been held, offer a glimpse into this colorful past. St. Paul's gangster era remains a unique chapter in the history of organized crime in America as a whole, which I think is super cool and weird, highlighting the complex interplay of corruption, law enforcement, and criminal enterprise.
Ooh.
And that is my seg for St. Paul crimes.
I love that.
Wasn't it interesting?
I kind of like St. Paul more now.
I know. I think I have more appreciation for a city or specific location that can provide us with crimes that aren't like some of the darkest fucking shit we've ever heard. Not to say that really dark shit hasn't happened here, but like the stuff that we're famous for in terms of St. Paul's criminal history is not quite as...
It's more organized crime and not like out and out violence, which is not to say that it's not violent criminal behavior. It just didn't happen here
because they followed the rules.
Yeah.
Which
a
is like,
a lot more crazy shit happens in Minneapolis than in St.
It's true. But that whole like we don't care as long as it's not happening right here is like so indicative of Minnesotan culture.
Oh yeah.
It's like that's like Minnesota nice in a nutshell. Like I hate you, but as long as it's not happening right here in my face, I'm just gonna pretend to be nice to you and then talk shit about you behind your back.
It's just a really intense kind of apathy.
Passive aggressive, racist, apathetic nonsense.
Yeah. Don't do it in front of me, so I don't have to deal with it.
This doesn't
I don't really
affect
care
me
what you do
until it does.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's St. Paul
affects
crimes.
us all at some point. Cool.
It's coming for us all.
Thank you, John, our
Thank you so much,
beloved
John.
editor, for this staff pick.
Literally couldn't do this without you. If we didn't have an editor, we would no longer make this show.
Love you.
So shout out to John.
Shout out to you, dear listeners. We hope you're having a wonderful holiday time, staying safe, staying warm and healthy. And yeah, we got one more episode left for this year. And then I think a gap.
400th episode.
I have to write a song.
400th main feed episode.
I have to write a song.
You could just use Songfinch, our old standby.
That's true.
You could.
They come through real quick.
They really do. All right. Well, we'll figure that out and we'll see you on episode 400.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.